Hi and welcome to the Resources Roadhouse. I'm Walter Graham and today I am speaking with Venture Minerals Managing Director Andrew Radonjic. Now, Andrew, Venture Minerals over the last 12 months probably worn a couple of different hats. We've worn an exploration hat and a development hat, the most important one probably being the development hat down in Tasmania, the Riley Iron Ore Mine. Now, I just noticed an announcement recently where you announced that you've commenced construction of a wet screening plant down there. You've decided to go that way with the mining operation down there. Perhaps you could just fill us in on the details why Venture's gone down that track.
Great, thanks, Wally, and thanks for the opportunity to talk today. Look, we did some dry screening and mining back for a few weeks on site a couple of months ago now, and through that process we sort of were able to work out, I suppose, the costs more accurately, because the whole project really based around a wet screening plant, which would do a 1 millimetre screening, which can only be done really wet. You can't do that dry, so that's one of the issues we had. And when you do different screening sizes, you tend to get different products, different yields, and we'd have to bring in a lot of equipment short term to do the exercise. So there are a lot of additional costs to do the exercise. And what we came to conclusions after doing a full analysis and costing is that it's far more efficient, even at lower prices, if we're doing the wet screening plant. And so that's the sort of conclusion we got to. The shareholders have given us funds to use in the Riley project, and so without further delay, we decided to get stuck into building the wet screening plant. So we've got gear running around site, construction gear working as we speak.
All right, so the decision to go down the wet screening plant route, does that add a little bit of extra time till we hit production?
Yeah, first shipment, would have been, I suppose, sometime next month. That probably pushes it out to sort of late February, early March at this stage. It's going to take 3 months to build the plant, so we're looking at commissioning in the second half of January at this stage. Obviously, you've got to work around Christmas. Some of the equipment has to come from Europe, but the long lead items have been ordered. So, and also we've already ordered the bits of equipment we sold previously from the plant itself. So they're sitting in Melbourne, so that's a good move there. So that's already in country, if you like. So all the long lead items, like we said in the announcement, have been ordered. So, but some of the things which, if you like, we're taking 6 weeks, now taking 10 weeks because of the situation in Europe, which specialise in electronics equipment out of Germany, for example. So
yeah. Well, I mean, the delay really doesn't affect the quality of the project, and it doesn't affect the long run. Basically, it's still the same project, still the same product, still the same offtake agreements. So everything is still there. It's just the nature of the beast these days. It's just going to take a little bit longer.
That's correct. We were always going to build a wet plant anyway. The dry screening was just an opportunity to bring production forward. But because we have a small deposit, to put out 3 shipments, for example, of dry screen materials, about 8% of our deposit. So as I tell people, I can only mine this ore body once, so I've got to try and maximise the profitability out of each of those tonnes. So we have, having done a sort of like a real world exercise of mining, and even if it's dry and dry screening and crushing, we've actually learned a lot out of the exercise, and we're applying what we've worked knowledge out of that to improve our efficiencies in the not only the mining but also in part of the wet screening process. So the behaviour of the 2 different ore types of mining together, we've got some different strategies in place which should benefit the project in the long run.
Yeah, and of course the iron ore price, which was the impetus behind getting the project up and running, that's still behaving itself, and it's still up at good prices.
Well, that's correct. It's the project makes good money at 90 US. We're still sitting around I think this morning around 120. So obviously the sooner we get operating, the better. But we don't expect the price to be falling off the cliff sometime soon. So we'll still have good advantages. And And part of the idea is really to have, have an efficient operation. And like I said before, we've got a small project, so we're just trying to harness as much of the cash we can out of it to do other things, such as progress the development of Mount Lindsay, the critical minerals project near us, tin tungsten project, and maybe invest into some of our other assets, in our exploration assets in WA.
Speaking of which, your exploration assets in WA, good segue, well done. Your Golden Grove North project. Now, you're busy out there at the moment drilling. The drill bit's spinning as we speak. So what are you hoping to achieve out there?
Well, Golden Grove, we've had a few announcements in the last quarter. So we've got 3 EM targets called Vulcan North, Vulcan West. And they're strong conductors sitting under areas which have got surface anomalism in copper or zinc, and in a couple of those cases, Vulcan West and Vulcan North, very much looking like a scuttle scenario, which is one of the 2 main deposits at Golden Grove, which is still being mined today, discovered in 1979, with the aid of a 1979 version of EM. So it was a pretty spectacular hit, but there's virtually nothing at surface. So EM is pretty important. Now, what we purchased a new tenement between those 2 EM targets, Vulcan North, Vulcan West, and there was a drill intersection called WRC 054. It was drilled for iron ore, that area drilling and banded iron, and there was broad space drill pattern, set depth drilling down to 60 metres. And one of the holes at the end of one of those lines hit 22 metres at 0.8 gold, 0.6 copper and 1.3 zinc. Finished mineralisation, something like 10 metres at the gram, 0.8 copper and 2.1% zinc. So it's got into the sulphides, and if you like, could potentially just been drilling into the top of a new ore body. So it's a very exciting acquisition for us, and it sits along strike, like I said previously. So it's in the right stratigraphy. And we're just doing the EM over that now. It's probably just about being completed, and that will help us pinpoint that target even better. And the thing about people must remember is that to get an EM signal, you need fairly reasonably massive type of sulfides, usually iron sulfide or pyrrhotite, and chalcopyrite, which is a copper sulfide, and pentlandite, which is a nickel sulfide. Once they're in that sort of massive, semi-massive form, they give us the best EM signals. Zinc sulfides do not give an EM signal. So quite often you can hit a zinc zone, but the zinc and copper zones at Golden Grove, for example, are disconnected. They're in the same general global area, but they're disconnected. Who knows, maybe we've drilled the zinc zone and the copper zone may be a couple hundred metres away. So the EM will tell us that. So we might have, who knows, obviously I'd love to go and just drill that target, which is, hit the top of potentially, but the EM may give us if you like, 2 targets to drill within that same area. So, as far as exploration concerns, internally we're super keen to drill that. We think we've de-risked it quite a bit. So we've got, I suppose, for shareholders, 4 targets that's potentially intersecting massive copper sulfides within the next couple of weeks. So I think, whilst we're building the more mundane task of building an iron ore mine processing plant, we can, I suppose, keep the interests of shareholders engaged by hopefully make a new discovery.
Well, that is the excitement of exploration after all, isn't it? If you had that discovery, and should that come about, I'm sure that we'll be hearing about it here, and you'll be knocking on our door, letting us know, so that we can tell everybody. But that all sounds pretty good, Andrew. Sounds like you're pretty busy at the moment. I know it was pretty hard to tie you down today for our chat, so there's a lot of people pulling you in all different sorts of directions. So we'll let you get onto that. Hopefully next time we catch up, we've got some good news to come from out at Golden Grove North.
I certainly hope so, and that's when that happens, Wally, I'll give you a call.
I'll be sitting by the phone.
Good on you, mate.